Folks are still trickling in, but in the interest of time, I want to kick this off so we have time to discuss everything that's going on. This is all being recorded, so if you come in late, that's totally fine. We can share the recording with you after. Thank you so much for joining us today to talk about this year's 988 Day. Uh, we have a big crowd, which is very, very exciting that this many folks are interested and want to support what's going on this September 8th. You can go to the next slide. Awesome. Okay, so just to get this out of the way, standard disclaimer, the views, opinions, and content expressed in this presentation do not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or policies of the 988 and Behavioral Health Crisis Coordinating Office, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Okay, you can go to the next slide. Awesome. So my name is Calvin Stoll. I'm the Vice President of Marketing Communications for 988 over at Vibrant, and I will let Janelle introduce herself.
And good afternoon. I'm Janelle Norris. I lead the strategic communications and integrated marketing here at SAMHSA in the 988 office. Nice to see everyone here today.
Awesome. You can go to the next slide. Perfect. So just a quick overview of what we're going to talk about this afternoon. We're going to go into kind of what we did last year. And I know a lot of folks in this room participated and made last year the success it was. Then we're going to talk about what we're doing this year in terms of theme, in terms of collateral that's available to you. Then we're going into breakout groups. When you registered, you were asked to pick a breakout group. If you didn't, it's okay. You will be assigned one. No one will be left behind. You will be assigned one for about 30 minutes. And then we'll all come back together and share some of the learnings from the breakout groups. You can go to the next slide. Perfect. So just like some general housekeeping things, as I said earlier, if you're coming in late, that's totally fine. This whole thing is being recorded and will be shared. We have two ASL interpreters here for the duration of the webinar. If you need an ASL interpreter in a specific breakout, please just let us know and we can help facilitate that. When you are not speaking, please keep your mic muted. It's a big room with lots of people, and oftentimes people don't realize they're unmuted, and there might be ambient noise or just noise. So please keep yourself muted until you get to the breakout rooms, which then we please encourage you to participate. Your facilitators will be asking you a lot of thoughtful questions, and we really want everyone's participation. Also, that being said, if you're in a breakout room, it's not required, but obviously if you can go on camera, please go on camera. It's not required, but if you can participate, please participate. We really count on the feedback and insight that the folks here have. Everyone is coming to this webinar with a different lived experience, with work in the space. We really appreciate the feedback, and it makes 98 Day better every single year. So please participate if you can. And once again, just keep yourself muted unless you're deciding to speak in the breakout room. Most breakout rooms have a lot of people in them, so we'll do a round robin style introduction in the chat. Just because if we did introductions for every single person on mic, it would take the entire time of that breakout session, most likely. Okay, cool. You can go to the next slide. Okay, so I think most folks in here probably are aware of 988 Day and have participated in the past, but I know that we have some new folks as well, and we're excited to have you join us. So what is 988 Day? What are we here to discuss? So this year we're celebrating our third 988 Day, which is September 8th. It's really a day of action across the country to really raise awareness of 988 as a service, to raise awareness how localized the support really can be, to make sure that we're getting 988 in front of people, to address any barriers to entry people might have in terms of 988. Really, it's just like a huge day of celebration. Year over year, we've seen it's consistently been the biggest day for 988 in terms of press hits, in terms of social media mentions, in terms of just people talking about it. So we want to make sure that you can join us in the celebration, and we make it as easy for you as possible to plug in. So you don't need a dedicated social media team or a graphic designer or a videographer or any of that stuff. We will have a full toolkit available that you can pull from, and as well use it to customize um, uh, to the local level. And we'll get into that in a little bit. And one of the really big things that we're focused on, actually, go to the next slide. I'm jumping ahead of myself with the theming. So let's talk about last year first, and then I'll get into this year's theme. You can go to the next slide. So last year we worked, SAMHSA and Vibrant worked hand in hand with a lot of folks in this room, a lot of folks that were in previous webinars, a lot of folks from states, from centers, from local nonprofits to schools, elected officials, really to celebrate 988. Last year we did these webinars. They were very successful. People definitely want to do them again. So we're doing them again. This is our last one, but like I said, I see a lot of people have come in since I've said this earlier, so I'll say it again. These are fully recorded, so they will be available to you. And if you weren't able to make it, we will be sending out an email with a recording to anyone that registered and showed interest. We built up the 988 logo, which you can see behind me and Janelle right here, specifically for 988 Day. We designed a toolkit based on feedback that folks had given us around things that they wish they had to make it easy, to make it turnkey. Because once again, not everyone has a dedicated social media person, a graphic person, et cetera, et cetera. We put together outreach material templates for folks. So here's how to contact, the State House to light it up in the colors of 988. Here's how to contact the school district to try to get the 988 logo and information on school IDs. Here's how to contact the local government to get a proclamation made that 9/8 is 9/88 Day. And all those things are available again this year. People really liked them and found a huge utilization from them. And once again, like we're at Vibrant and SAMHSA, it's a very small team that works on 988. So we would not be able to do the things that are happening on 988 Day without the support of everyone in this room and everyone beyond this room helping us celebrate 988 Day. We are a very lean team. So we can put this toolkit together and hopefully folks find it useful. But it really does only become as big as it is because of the support of the dedicated folks that really want to raise awareness around 988. So we put together a lot of outreach stuff. We worked with people on the ground to help them organize things like marathons, gatherings in schools and churches, fundraisers, like anything that you can imagine happened last year for 988 Day. And we worked with a lot of folks, like you'll see who we heard from, pretty much every sector that you can imagine, public, private, nonprofits, schools, the government, churches, academic institutions, like everything under the sun, because we want people to know that 988 is here and it's for everyone, which goes into the theme that we're about to hop into. You can go to the next slide. Oh, and you can press play. This is a highlight from last year's 988 Day.
Happy 988 Day.
Feliz Día del 988.
It's September 8th, 9/8, also known as 988 Day.
Today is a day to raise awareness with yourself, with your friends, loved ones.
I've been looking for a lifeline for what seems like a lifetime.
I know how hard it can be to ask for help. I've been there. But I've also learned that reaching out is one of the bravest things that we can do.
Reach out to the 988 number or your loved ones.
I had to talk a little bit about Race to Stop Suicide. This September is going to be the second ever 988 Day.
It's really rewarding to be giving that type of support during such an intense moment. So yeah, I really love my work.
Let's navigate these spaces together. Okay, bye.
Awesome. So I love that video because it just shows how many things happened on the ground. The examples from that video were really from the incredible volunteers and employees at centers, at the state level, at various partnership organizations. Like uh, it's just an incredible amount of support and outpouring of love to make sure folks know this service exists. Because in the grand scheme of things, 988 is pretty new, right? It's only a few years old. So 988 Day for us is really that opportunity to get everyone together and really push this service forward. So last year we saw some pretty good numbers across social, almost 4,000 different mentions of 988 Day. We had a lot of engagement on all those posts. What's exciting about this 988 Day compared to last year's is there was very little paid spend on 988 Day last year. It was pretty much entirely organic. I mean, I think maybe it was like $8,000, but for an entire national campaign, that's like very, very little. This year, we are doing a significant spend from the Vibrant side behind 988 Day at a national level to make sure that we're really getting in front of everyone. So these numbers are going to skyrocket this year, which is very exciting because truly at the end of the day, this is really about raising awareness that this service exists. So we want to put some muscle behind it. You can go to the next slide. Awesome. So this is just another kind of stat slide about pickup overall. We worked with SAMHSA's PR team, did a lot of pitching to get a lot of media pickup, but also the outreach kits that we put together that are in the toolkit that you'll see in a second really helped people at the state and the center level do pitching as well. And so many of those press hits you saw in that last video, we can't take credit for it. That was someone that took the initiative, took the outreach kit, and told a story to like the local news. And once again, what I think is so powerful about 988 is we've rolled out geo routing, right? People are getting incredibly localized support. So that local coverage and people from within that community telling the story of 988 really is powerful. You can go to the next slide. Cool. I'm going to hand it over to Janelle to talk about this year's 988 Day.
Thank you, Calvin. So hopefully everyone can hear me okay. So let's get into what we have planned for this year's 988 Day. Next slide. So as we previously may have mentioned, the 2026 theme is 988 reasons. Your reason is reason enough. 988 Day, as we know, is a moment to raise awareness, share reasons for reaching out for support, and remind everyone that help is always just 3 digits away. And what we want to do here this year is emphasize the fact that, we want to make this resource known and available before a crisis. So that's why we're emphasizing that there are a multitude of reasons why someone might need to reach out and that their reason is reason enough and not to be, feel like, oh, this isn't that serious. So for example, things like, anxiety you don't quite have a name for, that's a reason. If your sobriety is feeling shaky, that's a reason. You're feeling alone in a new city, that's a reason. Stuck on a wait list for a therapist, that's a reason. And so we encourage people, this year to make it your own, your reason to contact. That is indeed a reason. Next slide. So as we mentioned at the start of this call, and if you are were a little late joining, that's fine too. Like Calvin said, this recording will be available. But this year, you'll be able to find the 98 Day Toolkit and how to get involved, all the different ways that we promoted and talked about that happened in 2025. Also available and happy to promote the same things and the same methods of getting the word out there this year. So you can visit 988lifeline.org/988-day to find the toolkit. And it is some content is there. It is being updated consistently for the next couple of days, and everything should be fully available tomorrow. But like I said, the components will continue to roll out between now and tomorrow. But some items are definitely there, and I think some of you have already started to use them. Um, so you'll find on this toolkit just a multitude of resources that you can use, whether it's social media posts, like Calvin mentioned, proclamation language. So the work is pretty much done for you. We just ask that you use it and help us promote 988 Day 2026. Next slide. Oh, so yeah, I kind of preempted my own slide here. So our goal is to obviously have everyone create their own vision. Run with your own ideas, your events. We really do encourage the diversity and the variety there. But we also recognize that some folks have limited bandwidth. We are sometimes those some folks. So we are building on last year's toolkit and including we have some expanded social media assets, including posts for Facebook, IG, X, YouTube, LinkedIn, and TikTok. We have ready to go content for emails and newsletters, Zoom backgrounds like the ones we have here, animated GIFs, 988 Day Proclamation template, multiple fact sheets for general use, including faith-based communities and youth. We have some school announcement scripts that can be used. And since back to school is right here, right now, it's the perfect time to encourage those audiences as well and make them aware of the resource. And we also have a variety of logos and logo lockups in both English and Spanish with an array of color options to, hopefully lend to some creativity. Next slide. So again, 98 Day is really about your creativity. You know your communities better than we do. So engaging with them in that same, unified voice that they're accustomed to. The variety in content is really the best way to highlight your involvement. And on the side here with the image, you can just see some of the ways that 98 Day came to life in the past, whether it's, the guerrilla marketing on the streets, in your communities, leading to, I see in that background on the third picture, a church house, where we have faith-based, like I said, faith-based content readily available for you. So any community can really get involved in 988 Day. Next slide. So we really want to encourage in our breakout sessions, us getting face to face, getting to know each other, learning from folks in our community who are here today, maybe some ideas that you have for this year, or sharing some insights around what worked well for you last year. We know that your voice matters, and so does your presence. So we do ask, although it is not a requirement, for you to turn on your camera, help us build that connection, spark the creativity, make space for meaningful idea sharing. And this is really your opportunity to contribute. We love to hear, your thoughts, your insights, and experiences. We're taking notes so that we can always be improving upon what we have available in our toolkit and resources for 988 Days in the future. So let's make this session collaborative and energizing, and let's get to work. We can go into the breakout rooms.
So I was in one of the workforce rooms. One of the things we discussed is that TikTok seems to be a platform that is really great with reaching some of the younger demographics. Unfortunately, not all government offices are able to use TikTok. So something that they're trying also to do on the personal side. Pre-packaged materials are really helpful for that. So we've often talked about, they don't necessarily have designated staff or budget for marketing. So having something they can reshare versus creating original content is really helpful. And a lot of our participants are really getting creative in their state, connecting with their local garbage disposal organizations, wrapping those vans and trucks in 988 information, magnets, kind of like a guerrilla campaign, sticking them on vending machines to get the word out. And then a lot of integration with substance use providers to make sure that they're aware and pushing the information out to those populations as well.
Andy.
Yeah, just I was with the tribal group. We had a small but mighty group, and I just wanted to kind of summarize by saying that one of the common themes was the use of more community events over social media. So there's some challenges around social media and tribal communities. And so the idea of doing more community events, there's some discussion about a powwow, 988 themed powwow, and other things like that, working with university native student groups at universities and things like that. So that's all I wanted to offer. I'll let somebody else go.
Thank you so much, Andy. Mr. Lawrence.
Yeah, I just want to back up, Andy. I was with the general group, and one of the things that they elevated was as much as a lot of our assets and the utilization of social media really get to some of the younger folks, folks from more rural states and states that are really focusing on men and older adults, thinking about additional pathways, and that it would be helpful for them, not just in partnership on 988 overall, but on the themes having more notice so they can really deepen these relationships and really arm partners within community to best support not just 988 Day, but really amplifying the theme.
Awesome. I'll just share quickly kind of what my group talked about, and then anyone that might have anything to share, just let us know, and we can share it as well. And this isn't surprising feedback. This is feedback that we've gotten often, but we really want to plan 988 Day even earlier and communicate it more to folks that want to support it. So the folks at the center level, the network level, all of the partners in the nonprofit space, celebrities, influencers, and that feedback is like incredibly well heard. And I'll tell you that, I mean, I want to speak for Janelle, but I'll say Janelle and I have had a lot of conversations where we do want to get this stuff out and ready so you can engage with it earlier and more often. And I think a really poignant piece of feedback that I got not only in that session, but the session that I led on the 10th is just letting folks know it exists. Like even folks that are on mail lists when they're being notified about 988 Day, they don't necessarily, it's one of a million items on that email, right? So it's like, how are we actually pushing 988 Day front and center? And once again, early and often enough. And this is our messaging issue. This is not a CSR-TTAC thing. This is a vibrant thing. Letting folks know earlier and more often that this is something that's happening, that they can participate in, and really just making sure that we're getting that feedback as far in advance as possible so we can implement those things into that year's 988 Day versus the next year's 988 Day.
Dr. House.
Hi, everyone. We had a small but mighty group, HBCU group, with about 5 HBCUs and some other organizations that support HBCUs. And we talked about the importance of using influencers on campus, students who are influencers to get the message out. So student leaders, athletes, members of bands on campus to do possibly skits and to do testimonies that can be shown on social media. Social media is a great way to reach students. Also, anything with music, food, and good conversation, as well as student leaders who are influencers, will bring students out. So getting awareness across that way as well. Many schools plan to do that as well. So those were the main takeaways from our group.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Dr. House. Ben.
Yeah, Ben Odell with the HHS Center for Faith. We had a great conversation in our faith and community-based organizations, thinking about the different places where our leaders go to help, having them bring the resources with them, but also thinking about ways that congregants have places where they can take resources. And so having resources available in our physical spaces that can people can take with them to places, as well as leaders who can take resources into communities. I don't about you all, but I had some commitments for some singing on some social media videos, talking about using songs that remind us of Broadway musicals, about having multiple reasons to share and support our loved ones, our people in our community, and sharing that love in meaningful and important ways.
Wow, that is awesome. Please keep us updated on those singing agreements. We would love to hear more about that in the future, Ben. Andy, passing it on to you.
Yeah, just a brief rundown of our tribal meeting was small but mighty two folks that showed up and also talk about since I was here for the last one, the common themes in the tribal programs really are the importance of community events and community events that are based on in the tribal culture. So for example, powwows, folks from Oklahoma talked about live streaming powwows and using 988 as sort of advertising through the live streaming platforms. So really the emphasis in Native communities since tends to be more events and community gatherings rather than strictly focusing on social media, which has its place. But so that's it. Thanks.
Muted, Ms. Carr.
Thanks. Technology, right? I was responding to Dante's question in the chat. I think it's a good question for everyone to hear. He asked about who do you tag on social media posts as they're working to connect with global audience. So the social media guide is going to also be included in that toolkit that was mentioned earlier that's expected to come out after the 21st. So please be on the lookout for that. It's going to give you additional information on what resources, what hashtags to use, and other tools that you can use to continue to amplify the message. Are there any other? Oh, Jocelyn, I was just going to ask about other facilitators who wanted to share.
Yes, I can be brief, but I was facilitating a general group, similar to Andy. A lot of individuals in my group really focus on community events, lots of emphasis on military communities, just based on the context of where people are working in, lots of work with schools, trying to find ways to engage with young folks, and also tailor messaging and campaigns to particular segments of the population. So someone mentioned middle-aged men. So lots of good conversation around that. I also wanted to plug, because we had a good question come up, if anyone has been able to successfully partner with their local media, please connect with Mark. He's trying to brainstorm ways of how to connect with his local media group. And so if anyone has experience with that, greatly appreciate your insight. But overall, a good conversation on the value of using community events and family-centered approaches to trying to engage children. And once you're engaging the children in these conversations, talking to the parents to spread awareness too. So yeah, thank you to my team for the participation.
Awesome. Thanks, Jocelyn. And Kava mentioned that there's a media guide in the toolkit. So again, be on the lookout for that. Cindy.
Hi, everyone. I come bearing all the wisdom from the social media and youth group C. And we actually had a mighty group there telling a lot of great ideas, but specifically, I thought that there was great response to the 988 reasons campaign. And so lots of ideas around that, including using a hope wall with youth and in agencies to motivate the staff to like kind of sign on with 900 and like challenge them. Let's get 988 reasons up on the wall. And also some ideas to take that into local high schools with a 988 reasons why at high schools. And then there were several people talking about that specifically, how great and easy it is to transfer over into youth ears. So I will just stop at that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cindy, for sharing that. Thank you for all the facilitators and everyone in the breakout sessions who are participating in the great conversations that were happening last event, this year's event. And, we just really appreciate you guys taking the time to share space with us to continue to amplify the message around 988. not just the day, but the work that's happening across the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And so we look forward to seeing what you guys come up with over the next couple of weeks, how you're amplifying the message, and then looking forward to see you guys contributing and collaborating for next year's event as well. I will pass it off to Calvin and Janelle if there are any other last thoughts that you have before we wrap up.
No, I just wanted to thank everyone for participating, for being here. Like I said, we have very lean teams at SAMHSA and Vibrant, so 98 Day would not be anywhere near as big without the support of folks in this room and the people that really love and want to bring this service to folks. So thank you so much. I put my email in the chat if anyone wants to ping me about anything. But thank you for joining us today.
And I am echoing Calvin's remarks. Thank you. Definitely appreciate it. Definitely appreciate all of the idea sharing and collaboration. And we look forward to a great 98 Day.
Awesome. And with that, we wish you guys a wonderful rest of your afternoon and a great week. And we will see you guys on the other side. Have a great one.